Alright guys, so we have a quick update just to my Defender. I've been working on it a little bit. I still didn't get to do the front thing like I wanted to outside. You can see there's, the MDF is kind of messed up there. I have to actually knock out the plate. But since I'm going to be removing the boards anyway from the inside to give it a little cleaning, I figured I'll knock it out then and take care of it then. But for now, I'm just kind of working on the boards. So what I did is I did some tests and it wasn't booting up properly. So the first thing I did was test voltages, and I actually put in, you can see over here, I actually put in a switching power supply, which is, it's all secured and everything. I just tapped right into the lines. What I did was I just followed the line going from the monitor as they suggested, followed this line all the way down, that way it's closer, and just tapped into them right down here. And it's working great. I get all the right voltages I need and everything. And then this here, I'm going to show you in a second, but I'm rebuilding it. So I ordered a kit, so this is only temporary. A lot of people swear by it, but the problem with this is one of the plugs, which is this one here, that goes to the coin door, it doesn't plug to anything, so it needs some sort of power. I think John at John's Arcade kind of addressed his by switching over his Robotron, but I want to leave it original, and I want to have some experience also with rebuilding it. So I don't mind doing that, so for now it's okay. I did put fresh batteries in here, but I did buy the kit to convert it over to, the smaller battery with the battery holder. That way, I don't want anything leaking for years to come. And then what I did was, the problem I'm getting now, usually there's like 4 indicator lights. Let me see if I could find it here. I can't recall. It might be on the ROM board actually. Yeah, it is. So I have the ROM board in my hand here. I'll just take it out. So there's 4 lights. You can see it right there in the upper right-hand corner now. Those lights usually flash a couple times and kind of gives different messages and stuff. Well, on mine, when you turn it on, they're all lit. And they don't turn off at all. So I did change the power supply. Like I said, I thought it was that. I hadn't tested the ROMs yet. And at that point, I was able to get sound by pressing this little reset button right here. You can see where my hand is. So every time I pressed it, it would go in a loop of, Williams sound if it first turning on. So that's good. I at least have sound and everything. I know the amp is fine. So I'm going to troubleshoot a little bit further. There were some ROM legs broken off and stuff. So what I did was, let me head back over here. So you can see, I actually ordered an extra ROM board. This was like 15 bucks. I got it off of Jen from Gen 2 Arcade. She's actually on a Facebook user group, and just did a complete swap, and it still didn't work. So then I started testing all the chips. So I went one by one, and luckily each one that didn't work, I would just kind of grab it from over here, test that one. So long story short, I had about, let's see, 1, 2. There were a lot of chips. 3. There were a whole bunch that were all messed up. This one here, it looks fine, but it's actually messed up too. This is ROM 3, and ROMs 2 and 3, I believe. Here's the board here. So, yeah, it actually goes backwards. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. There is no 5, then 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this one's not supposed to be there, so that's normal. But I believe 2 and 3 are actually a little bigger. They're 4096 kilobytes as opposed to 2048. So they hold double the information. They need actually double chips, and of course those are the chips, the EPROMs I did not have. So I wasn't able to burn those. I actually have them on order. But in the meantime, since this one here is bad, I was like, okay, let me get my spare. This is actually the spare. This was bad on the board that I had bought for 15 bucks. So this one here was the original one. I don't know if you can see it. I did polish it a little bit. But these are actually, you can see on this side, they're black. They were just really corroded and stuff. So as a temporary solution until I get that, because I did order it from China, it's going to take a little while. I'm going to go ahead and I tried sanding these off, actually with, the asbestos stick. That gently takes them off, but it's still, it took off the bottom part, but the top part is still a little tougher. So I'm going to use a file as suggested by Adam over at One Circuit, he kind of said there's a way to repair ICs by putting it into a socket, so I'm going to attempt to do that now. Just as a temporary solution to see, I don't even know if this ROM is any good, just so I can test it and stick it in here. And what I do is basically put it here. I kind of pull it off right here on my programmer software, save it, and then once I save it, I compare it with ROMident. It's a website where you can kind of compare and see if it's in MAME. And these other ones failed, so that's how I know, like this one here that's in there is bad. So let's go ahead and go try soldering that in, and we'll see what happens. Alright guys, so we're at my bench now. It's really messy. I just haven't been using this in a while, just been piling stuff over. But what I ended up doing a while ago is I picked up some sockets. I was working on another project, just fixing up my extra Galaxian board that I had. And I ended up, one of the chips, instead of burning it, it's a really sloppy job, but I ended up just putting it on a socket and, you know, using that as the chip that was broken. It ended up still not working because there were some RAM issues, but that was just a temporary solution. I ended up burning a new one, so it looks nice and neat. But anyway, this was like on eBay, super cheap. So what I plan to do, here's one of the sockets here, is I plan to kind of put this in there. You know, once I file it down, I'm going to file it down with this here, as suggested by, I think Adam over at One Circuit suggested that I do that. He has a video, it's a great tutorial, check out his channel. But he basically had IC repair and how to repair them using wrapping wire, you know, which is super thin, and you can kind of do that. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do, just out of curiosity, to see if this is good. Once I make a chip, I'll be able to plug it into my programmer and kind of test it to see if it's a good ROM, and if it's good, I'm going to stick it in the board to see if it'll work. I did use an asbestos pen first, you know, to kind of get the edges, which it cleaned, but this stuff was just so corroded and on here that, you know, I'm just going to use a file like you suggested, just to take it off gently. And then, you know, this is going to be replaced anyway. I ordered the correct chips for this, and I think the chips have to be at least 200 nanoseconds for it to work correctly, because these are PROMs, and these are a lot faster than the EPROMs. So, you know, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll plug it in and see if it works. Alright guys, so we're back. So I ended up soldering, you know, the actual ROM chip onto a socket, and you can't see it, but it's on the other side here. And I actually tested just to be sure the leg from here underneath, you know, the socket itself on the pin, just to make sure that they do have continuity. So I did have continuity, so I actually repaired that by putting it in another socket and then putting that on top of there. However, when I did put it in my programmer, it still failed. So this ROM right here is still bad. I'm waiting on the 2732s to come in the mail. It's going to take a while because they're coming from China, but I figured I'd send this update in the meantime. But I really do need to burn ROM number 3 onto a new chip, put it on there, and hopefully that'll clear the problem. So what's happening now is these 4 LEDs right here are not really, they're supposed to, I think, flash twice and then continue, but they just stay lit the whole time. So I'm assuming it's because the ROM is bad. I did test voltage too. Not really sure. I mean, this switcher here, it's a, you know, switchable power supply with the upgrade adapter here. I am able to adjust the 5 volts. Sometimes this will be like 5.14, other times it'll be 4.98. I tried dialing it in, so I'm not sure if there's something else going on. I did reflow all the connectors, so I reflowed like this here, that there, that on the side. I basically reflowed all of them. I took the actual CPU motherboard out and did reflow the connectors. I think I reflowed this one here, you know, all the connectors that you see right here. Okay, so the other thing I did too was I you know, this is all socketed RAM here, so it's 4116 RAM, so I ordered all that brand new, replaced it all just to be safe. I wasn't really getting any errors, I don't think, but I still saved the RAM that was in here before. It looks like some of them were replaced, but I replaced them all completely with 4116 RAM. Not really sure if this was modified to take different RAM or not. Again, I'm not an expert. But, you know, I'm replacing the parts slowly because, you know, RAM is, they're notorious on these boards. So I replaced all that. Let's see, what else did I do here? I noticed here that the resistors, or the transistors, I should say, here were kind of twisted together. So I kind of, separated those and pulled them apart. They were kind of just like squished against the board, pushed in. So I went ahead and untwisted those. Same down here. These were kind of messed up. So I might have to replace those, or maybe just reflash the decoders. I'm not really sure. But in the meantime, I'm starting simple things first. I changed out the power supply. That way I'm able to adjust it. I did adjust the voltage, like I said, for these here. But again, I want to get this ROM burned properly and then see where it goes from there. So slowly I'm troubleshooting it. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on now. That way you can see what's going on. I did kind of get a step further where it's actually making a little bit of sound now. But again, these 4 lights are just staying solid. They're not really supposed to do that. So I know something's going on. So let me go ahead and turn it on. Let me actually go to the front here. And by the way, guys, I actually made this little mirror thing. This is actually a mirror that's with a clamp. It's set to one of those lamps that you use for reading. Lamp was like 10 bucks and the mirror was like 5, and I kind of just screwed it on there, and I'm able to just kind of put it on here. It has like, sliding and pad on the inside, so it doesn't ruin anything. And I'm able to kind of just, use the mirror to see the monitor. So right now the game is on. The marquee just turned on. I can hear the monitor on. I see that glow. But nothing's happening. See, this here, I'm going to turn the light down so you can kind of see it. Let me turn this one off too. You can see the lights. There's like 4 solid lights there. It's not supposed to be doing that. And it does nothing when you turn it on. It stays solid the whole time. So I can get a picture if I kind of press this. I'm not sure if this is a reset button on the board, but let me go ahead to the front so you can see it. And now I have, kind of like a yellowish image. I can get sound. I know the soundboard is semi-working, or at least the amp is working. I did continuity on all the fuses. Here, let me turn this on again. I did continuity on the fuses, tested them all. But if I press this little reset right here, it's kind of like this button here, you'll hear the sounds. And it just keeps repeating over and over. So I'm not really sure what that means. If you guys want to leave something in the comments, that would be very helpful. Again, this is a whole learning experience for me. I never worked on a Williams before. I do know that they're super challenging. And let me go ahead and lower the volume for you guys. All right. I know they're super challenging to do, so this is why I wanted to kind of tackle it. But I'm doing it in stages and doing all the right things. First thing I did was change this out. I'm going to rebuild the power supply. I have the whole kit and everything. So we'll see what happens with that. But in the meantime, this one's given the correct power, and I have adjustable voltage here. So it should be a little easier. And that's about it. So let me go ahead and turn this up a little bit so I don't forget that it's off for when I work on it again. And that's it. So yeah, if you guys have any comments or suggestions, just please let me know. Again, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and pass it on to your friends. I'm going to be posting this, I guess, on the user groups and stuff just to see if I get any help with it. But in the meantime, I really wanted to give you an update before I get that ROM. That ROM's on the way in the mail. And hopefully it'll solve some of the issues. I'm sure there's going to be other issues too. Alright guys, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.